Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS. It's time for Owin's Field Report, sponsored by Les Schwab Tire Centers.
Now, as you can imagine, with the extension that we were given on the Columbia, there was a lot of people out there chasing them, let alone from the lower river all the way up to the deadline. There were certainly lots of folks that were trying to get that infamous Columbia River spring Chinook. Now, I have no clue if that is going to remain open this upcoming. It's scheduled, unless they come out and say something other than it's open, meaning pay attention to ODFW's website, make sure you pay attention to anything that gets sent out, look at some of the local websites that might have that information for you. And if there is anything that changes, we'll have it on our Facebook page as well. But it is scheduled to reopen again this week. It's gonna be beautiful. Overall, the reports were pretty good. There were some boats. Mr. Monroe Jr., if you're out there, on the anchor in several areas up and down the Columbia was very good. The photo that I saw from Bill yesterday was 5 keepers in his fish box. And to get 5 keepers, you're going to have a few wilds in there somewhere, you would think, or at least several other bites. So overall, with the conditions, I would have said yesterday at least, I don't know about today, anchor fishing was very productive overall. But there were certainly some fish that were caught by trollers as well, and bank anglers that were plunking. So very good day. Today could be a different story. It could actually even be better. And if that opener does happen like it's scheduled, at the very least on the Columbia, this week is going to be perfect conditions. Clarity, level, temperature, all those things are going to be working. I don't want to get, because I actually get to fish this week, so I don't want to jinx it. But if you're not going to spend any time on the Willamette, the Columbia, the Willamette was also very good yesterday. There were several boats that had some very good opportunities. Didn't matter if you were trolling, if you were on the anchor, if you were playing in Oregon City or down lower, there were certainly some fish being caught. And if I didn't already mention this, there was a fish checked in yesterday at the Oregon City store, I believe, of a 25-pounder that was taken on the Willamette. So certainly some great options that are out there. If you're not necessarily interested in chasing springers, the reports from Merwin Reservoir for kokanee has been incredible. Yesterday, I spoke with a couple of different folks there at Fisherman's that were just recently there that said it was some of the best fishing that they've ever had, let alone for this year. So there are a lot of options that are out there if you're not necessarily interested in chasing springers, which is the middle of April. You can do what you want. I'm going to chase springers. Let's go ahead and take a look at fish counts, see if anything changed since yesterday. They haven't updated the Willamette, which is normal, but it is nice to see the numbers at least starting to show up there. Bonneville, very interesting. This is when we should start seeing, again, I mentioned this just a minute ago, with temperature, the flow, overall everything on the Columbia, this week we should really start to see these fish move over the dam. What those numbers will ultimately be like, who knows, but in the end, this is the prime time, right? Now, we'd all love to have plenty more time in April, maybe even into May. Who knows if that's going to happen? But if you can make it out there this week, this would be a really good week to try to make it happen. Turbidity on the Willamette is perfect. Anything under 10, I love. Anything above 5, I just don't like it that clear. We've talked about it a lot. But the conditions on the Willamette are pretty much perfect. Trolling, if it's herring, sand shrimp, if you're going to be back trolling up in Oregon City, whatever. I hope you got good eggs. I'm hoping to make that happen this week as well. I'm going to have a lot of options. I'm super excited if you couldn't tell. But below the falls, it's just dropping nicely. It's not too fast of a drop. It's just kind of the perfect scenario here. When we check in with Peyton in just a little bit, we'll find out what those weather conditions are going to be, but I'll give it up a little early. It's going to be really, really nice. The only question mark I have is wind, so we'll find that out. But at the very least, again, on the Columbia, great level. On the high tide in the 7s, low tides in the 6s. So there are no excuses. And you all know me. I love to have excuses when I don't catch anything, which can be extensive. Up at Bonneville, same thing. They are dumping water. This is the time of year for the spill, fortunately. It is sometimes a conspiracy theory thing, but we won't get sideways with that currently. But it is nice to see that the conditions are certainly playing out to the way we would like to see them. All right. Also, don't forget Abby's, okay? And we just went right through it. Let's go back. There it is. GPS at abbeys.com. Enter yourself in to win weekly the gift card for a giant pizza. And I mentioned this yesterday. I actually got a giant pizza and some spuds. Don't forget those. Man. And I don't eat I was about to say I don't eat carbs. I try not to eat carbs, but when those spuds are so good, you can't help yourself. Yeah. Anyway, you got to enter in each week in order to have the chance to win. Another giveaway, Procure. Jason at Procure.com. Each week you do have to enter, and you'll have a chance to win that prize pack, again, slanted towards Chinook. All right, let's check in with Peyton Major and find out what this beautiful forecast is really going to do. And I can say you have been very accurate since you've been part of our outdoor GPS team. Seems like you hit it every single week. Didn't matter if it was cold weather or now warm weather. It looks beautiful.
Thank you. And hey, we're the good guys this week, Owen, just delivering all the good news. I think you've used the word perfect a few times. It's exactly what this forecast is. 44 out there on our Mary Hill Tasting Room and Bistro. I haven't seen too many boats in the last 20 minutes, but they've been, hit or miss the last little bit. Not too active out there. Look at our satellite clouds right now. This is a really big gap overhead because of the high pressure that's building in. And so the little drizzle we had yesterday has now completely weakened. It's off to our east. And now we have this nice ridge moving in that's going to last most of the week. So it's a, pretty stagnant weather pattern. We woke up this morning with some patchy frost. We even have a frost advisory, but now we're already into the mid-40s in the metro. I want to show you some areas that we are a little bit more concerned with, and that's the upper Hood River Valley. Parkdale's still at 34, Pine Grove 38, but we have seen Hood River and areas along the Columbia get a little bit warmer in the last hour or two, and so that's good. That's why actually frost advisories and freeze warning has been expired. Looking at our Portland temperatures today, we've got a very quick warm up into the 60s and low 70s. It's a great Sunday. Get outside, do those outdoor chores, or maybe hit the rivers. Sounds really nice. Frosty start this morning, but I think that's our only frost threat on our forecast. We have, again, a week-long dry stretch. You can see here, this is on one of our extended models. Pretty much a gap overhead. We'll see some passing upper level clouds at times, but I want to point out Wednesday to Thursday, we do have a system. It seems pretty weak, but it's going to drop down from Canada. I think maybe far eastern Oregon could see a little sprinkle a little later on this week, but I don't really foresee that being a huge threat. Looking at our Friday forecast, we're back to sunshine. So if you're worried about wind, very basic easterly wind, I think now through about Tuesday, could get a little breezy that second half of the week if that system gets pretty close, but that's also why Wednesday is just slightly cooler, 67 degrees. The only major change I see is possibly Easter Sunday. We'll see more clouds later Saturday, and then maybe we'll drop down to near normal temperatures by Easter. So I don't think you could have a more picture-perfect mid-April 7-day forecast.
I agree. Absolutely beautiful. And when you get out to chase some spring Chinook this week, let us know how it goes, okay?
I'll try. I need some training.
Peyton, thank you. We appreciate it. Kind of interesting. She showed the river right there on the Willamette, or excuse me, on the Vancouver side. No boats by the railroad bridge, middle of April. I actually got a decent report between the bridges yesterday. Maybe there's a place to target if there's not a whole bunch of pressure. Okay, we're going to cut to a break. When we come back, I've got Deshaun and Caleb Berry from Get Hooked here in the studio. We're going to talk about one of their upcoming events, and of course, we'll make sure that you're well aware of all the rest and how you can become part of it. We'll be back with that in just a minute.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by P-Line, because we fish, by Hawken Fishing, perfection in fishing gear, and by Haxton's Canvas and Upholstery, the trusted name of the Pacific Northwest.